The chapter 1174 has already been released, and to simply put, it was insane. From emotional moments and big revelations of Loki, the chapter was straight up peak. It revealed the true zone form of Loki, and just to say, he is the strongest, and I gotta put my hands on fire to say he has the greatest one that we'll ever see. Wanna know the next steps of Loki and the results of the destruction of the God's Knight ship from the previous chapters? Then without wasting any more time, let's get to the video. On the cover page, Oda drew a weird request showing Roger taming a T-Rex and walking with him like a puppy. I know a lot of people tend to ignore the cover pages, especially if it's a fun request, but having a cover page with a Tyrannosaurus kinda remembers that it's actually one of the few ancient ones that didn't appear together, with the Velociraptor and other important dinosaurs. Is the fact that a T-Rex was drawn with a pirate hat another hint from Oda? Well, we can know for sure. The chapter was named the strongest being in the world, and it was purposely made ambiguous because it refers to more than one character. On the first page we got the continuation of the events that happened on last chapters. If you don't remember, after the three generals launched a combined attack against the Nightmare Nika, Summers threw the monster back to not be crushed, and in the result he kinda destroyed the ship. The same ship that would bring the kids to the Holy Land. Now back to the first page, Summers started worried since it was technically him who screwed it over, and we see that the Sea Clouds also got destroyed by the fall of Nika, so all of them are going to fall to death. He knows he can stop Gunko's aerial abilities and points out how the children will end up dying in the process. But his worry doesn't take much time, as just after seeing how the parents are trying to cut the arrow and how they are unable to touch them, he starts freaking out on his own Hisoka moment. We see the true nature of the probably most evil Holy Knight. He is a sadist and sees pleasure in this situation. He's even happy to see that Imo will actually be the one on fault, since Gunko is now possessed and the arrows cannot be stopped. Just a pause. One thing that didn't get much attention is how Imo's gender is actually revealed on this chapter. Summers referred to Imo as him, which is not really a surprise, but it's good to get more information of Imo. I mean, we don't even know his appearance. He screams and announces to the parents the imminent fall over their children and explains how it's useless trying to stop their fate now that the ship was destroyed. We see how dangerous the Tharn Devil Fruit can be, as one of the giants was getting his own hand severely damaged just by trying to reach his grandson. Both Summers and Gunko Devil Fruits actually probably work similar to Sugar's Devil Fruit, in a way that the only way to stop it is going directly against the user, or perhaps using a great amount of haki, which none of them are capable of. Anyway, following the delusion of Summers, he was getting so weird that even killing him was kinda confused about that, since all the effort to capture them would basically be useless. On the next page, all the children are getting desperate and start to blame themselves for their past actions. They believe the results of all of this was their fault for misbehaving, and in column flashback, he was grabbing a toy of Emmet, and his mother was saying that the Sun God would pay more attention on all the children. In other children's flashback, we see how even stupid tantrums like not eating carrots or lying are now making them say it was their fault. After seeing Colin crying, Ripley decided she wouldn't let him die alone, and in a selfless act, she hugs him despite being pierced by the thorns. We see how it was not just her, but all other relatives were doing the same and were prepared to die with them. Road hugs his brother, and Ben's mother also does the same. If you don't remember her, she's the same who got a nightmare versions with the killing of the devil fruit. Summers keep laughing seeing the certain death of them, and he says how they are stupid and that their death will be useless because they won't be able to serve the children anyway. They all fall from the cliff, but before falling something happens. The giants are now safe, and they don't even know what happened because they're on the top of what it looks like a giant pillow in a black flying island. Ripley asks Colin where are they, and we see how all of them are safe now. That pillow was revealed to be no other than Luffy in his Gear 50. He increased his size so much that even giants were pretty small compared to him, but that doesn't look much impressive compared to what's shown next. Luffy's talking with someone and the island is revealed to be moving. We don't have the information, but everyone knows it's Loki, now transformed in an island-sized monster. He still tries to keep that evil persona of him, saying he only wants to fight Imo and doesn't care about them, but everyone knows it's fake. It's just a persona trying to imitate rocks. Now back to Elbaf. The solid objects and nature now are bouncing with the sounds of the drums. Jaru recalls the old legends and says, on a curious day when thunder and snow both flurry, a giant beast shall appear to blow out the skies. The drums of libertation will blow out and the sun god will rise. Summers is shocked and Gunko is now controlled by Imo is apprehensive. On a double page we see who Luffy was talking to, which was the surprise of 0 people, Loki, now in his full Devil Fruit form. It's a colossal western black dragon. What is the real surprise is the size of that creature, and he was actually so big that even giants are now ants compared to him. Remember how big were the monsters created by killing them? Nothing compared to the transformation of Loki. Just to get a size comparison, Giant Luffy was big enough to jump ropes with Kaido's body, and the same Luffy is now small even compared to Loki's head. For instance, Kaido won't be big enough to be a collar for Loki, for example, who is also way bigger than even his Flame Bagua mode. Back to the page, Loki is creating lighting on his skin. Dragon, Nidhogg and all other creatures are now getting destroyed as Loki passes through them. Though I don't think it will be permanent as they don't have the concept of that. Loki's eyes are also the same as the Dome Reverse and Big Mom's eyes when she was fighting. That could and likely will relate to the fact that this dragon transformation has some type of soul power as another ability. His black dragon form could indicate that it was just the same dragon that Ryuma killed, as both of them could have some similarities if you consider the animated color of it. In my opinion, I'm still a bit skeptical. Ryuma's most information comes from one of Oda's one-shots, which means we don't even know which of these events actually happened in the One Piece verse. And to be honest, despite having the same color, they don't even show much similarities. I know it will upset some Zoro fans, but just like Zoro Kiss Kaido was fake, I don't think the dragon Ryuma killed was that, and if he was, remember, it was a past user or maybe just the wild creature that inspired this Devil Fruit version. The final pages of the chapter 1174 ends with a phrase, "The hours of Elbaf liberation has come." Another thing to note is how we don't see what Loki's Devil Fruit name was. I know everyone's going after Nidhogg, but be careful, as most of the time Oda shows Devil Fruit users with their powers, he also gives them the name of their fruits. I know a lot of people are now arguing about power scaling, and I think that's actually inevitable. The title of this chapter combined with the monstrous form of Loki is an indication of being the strongest in the world. I know Kaido fans don't like that, but after Loki's fight against Herod, it was getting obvious that Loki was going to be as strong, if not stronger than him as the story progressed. Keeping the parallel with Kaido, some people were underwhelmed by Loki's dragon design. Not because of its size, but mostly because it looks kinda lame compared to how great and detailed Kaido was. I'm not gonna lie, I think that's a valid point, but in defense of Oda, we should need to see more of that form. Mostly because if you consider, it kind of looks like just a silhouette. I know the silhouette piece is back and it was never out in first place. But I think once we see a clear view of Loki's mythical one, people will start to like to see it more. But outside of this chapter, it was extremely emotional, and though it might be a hot take, actually I thought it was way more emotional than even Kuma's flashback. The name of the chapter is also connected with one of Oda's answers in SBS. He referred to the mother as the strongest creature and said they would be even stronger than Kaido. Now you might ask, who was this chapter talking to, Loki or the parents? Well, I think it's certainly both. The name was not randomly chosen, it shows how strong Loki is and how big are the will and love of the parents. More than that, it's a parallel of all of them being stronger than Kaido. Now, following this chapter, we can talk about how now giants are not having to worry about the kidnapping and that the war against him will now be brutal. For my predictions for the next chapters, one of them is how Road was close to his brother, and we saw that Sanji, Gaba and Chopper were with him as well. It's likely they will appear on the sequence, which means Summers will certainly stop laughing because he's getting destroyed by then. Since Sanji was flying with them, I think we are going to see the duel between both Left Wings and possibly the moment of awakening of Sanji's Conqueror hack, because he will actually need that. We know Summers is not that strong compared to the old gen, and he was actually cooked by Gaban before, but after getting previous damage, I don't know if Gaban can keep fighting him on the same level. Also, if Loki's soul related powers are confirmed, maybe the combo of his power with Brooks would be a reasonable counter for Imu's Dome Reverse. If this is the first defeat of Imu in centuries living in the shadow, this arc might start an offensive battle that both Marinas and the Holy Land are going to have against the Straw Hats Alliance. Are giants now saved from the world government, or is the liberation of their children just one of the few miracles that need to happen in order to beat Imu? Well, that's something for the next chapters. But that's it for the video. This chapter was just excellent, although it's confirmed that One Piece will be on break next week. But don't panic, I will sure make theories about One Piece during it, and to make sure you don't miss my next videos, like and subscribe. That will help my channel and will keep you close to my future contents. Now see ya in the next video.